Welcome to Biz Chicks TV. We're here to help you take the hassle out of your hustle so you can build a profitable business that's fun to run. Here are your hosts.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Biz Chicks TV. This is the place. Hey, this morning I'm here with my friend and colleague, Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto, Canada. She's in the house, and we are talking about how to bring those profits in daily. We've been working on a series, and she's about to do part 3. So, hey, look, if you don't have part 1 and 2, you need to catch it up on YouTube. But we are going forward because we are in a success mode this morning. Oh my goodness, there have been some challenges, but you know what? All is well. Coach, what you got for us today?
Now, last 2 weeks, I'm going to bring you up to speed. We talked about the money talk. We talk about budgets, and we talk about what it costs you to be you. This is the part we were talking about. We talked about the following week, we talked about trust in the process. And all this stuff has to do with your money, the money you make, the money that comes into you, the money comes from either your job or your business or both, whichever one place you're getting money from. And most people are getting multiple streams. And most people have been doing this for a long time, but sometimes we don't even know what to call it. We didn't realize it was happening. And I'm talking to my folks, the multi-passionate entrepreneurs. Sometimes we pull money from everywhere, every which where. And this week and next week, we're going to look at we're going to look at the roles we're talking about. And then I'm going to do a little case scenario on week 4, just to tie it all together and show you and explain to you. And kind of you take this away and do with what you will. But I promise you, if you put in the time, if you do the things that you have to do, you will see results. Nothing happened overnight. No matter who tell you, what tell you, where they got it from, there's no overnight dream. There's a pretend overnight dream, but there's not a really overnight dream. Okay, guys? A friend of mine got married. It took us 8 to 9 months to save for the wedding, okay, with what she had. If she had run ahead and just buy everything, she would have been in the hole. Just with your business, give your business a full year to see it be profitable, for you to understand who you are and how you work in it. If you got a job, give it the time it needs. All right. That's like my intro before I get into today's.
I am so glad you said that. You know, because we are under the impression that these people got there in 5 minutes, and they did not.
They did not. They didn't even know that they would be coming and talking to you about it. They were doing a thing. They were trying a thing. They were trying to sell something. So don't get yourself caught up in that. Also, when you hear people talking about charging a lot of money, if you haven't been there yet, don't condemn them that's too expensive. It's just not, you just can't buy that. That's what that is.
You're not the customer for that right now.
Yeah. But if you plan to, you'll be able to. So today, without any interrupt, we're going to get straight in. We're talking about clarifying. And these are the only two things we're going to look at, not 3 as usual, because they're big. It's the time to grow. Is it the time to grow in your new role? Because we talked about what it is you want to do and all that stuff. And is it time to grow? And how do we stay the course? Give me a minute.
Yes. Okay, so we're talking about how to make money as a multi-passionate entrepreneur today. And Coach Caren wants to talk to us right now about, is it time to grow? Oh my gosh. How do you know when it's time to grow? You know, there's a season for everything. Right, Coach?
Yes. Sorry about that. I forgot to mute the phone. And business goes on.
Yes. Business has to take place.
Yes. And how do we stay the course? Like, how do we build this out? How do we stay the course? How do we get things done? all the stuff we talk about in part two, we talk about, to decide on one thing. We talk about once you decide on it, you go in full force, you stay on it. Today, we're talking about clarifying. And once we clarify all that we covered in part one and two, it's time to grow into the new role and all the things that involve in completing and positioning yourself in the passion role that you have created.
Wow.
This is for you. This is for you first and foremost. Because when people say bill it for your customer, you're going to be annoyed with your customer. You're going to be annoyed that they don't want to do stuff. But when you bill it for you and you understand where you're coming from, you get to talk to your customer about it. This is what I tell parents all the time. Stop building businesses for your children. Build a business that you love and want to do on a daily basis so that your kids will get the benefit from that work. Don't build it for them. Just like don't leave the old china for them. They might not like that style. Don't leave the china cabinet. They do not care.
I'm telling you, there's so many generations of people who have been left their mother's china, their grandmother's china, and that's just not our lifestyle today. Everything's disposable.
And because I think one of the things that people don't realize is like money. If you're going to leave your kids china, you need to have conversations around the china. They don't know the story. They just see you left and they're like, oh, but if you had said, I'd save for 5 years to buy this plate, when I was in this position, you might not want to talk about it, but you need to talk about it. So
or your grandfather, which is now your great-grandfather, or your great-great-grandfather, sent this back to your great-grandmother when he was at war.
Yes.
And they came through Japan on their way home.
Mm-hmm. And now you have this story. So the child growing up hearing these things, I know my story allowed me, my family talking, and I get to know a lot of things because it's not just a sit down and talk, it's just continuous. So when my great aunt died, for example, everybody had pieces that they actually wanted because of what they know about the pieces.
Story.
Yeah, they didn't care for the whole thing, but there's a Pacific mug that a daughter wanted, a Pacific bowl that her son wanted to keep going with, and to anybody else it's not a big deal, but to him what a bowl signifies for him that he passed on to his daughter, right? And she kept that bowl. I mean, her daughter, the girl traveled to the States with the bowl.
Exactly.
And when the immigration was, why you want a bowl? And she's like, this is my grandmother's bowl from X, Y, and Z. A little fold-up table my great uncle had made for her. And that table traveled through everybody because he made it. So people will keep stuff, but they have to understand why.
There needs to be significance attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So they have to understand why. So that's why you build your business this way. So even if your kids don't want the business and they want to sell it, they'll be able to talk to, because people think this is just, you could just sell it for $1 million, nobody cares. People care if you make them care. If you're selling the business and you say, hey, I can sell, you got 10 people across the board who want to buy your business, and this is people, this is what you're looking for, you'll be surprised. If you're willing to walk away from millions, and people have done this because it's not a suited partner, they get exactly what they wanted in their business. I literally know somebody who stayed in the business for 3 years after selling it because of what they wanted, how they wanted it to stay. And the person didn't have a problem with it because the person had the same values, and it was sort of workers stay on. He promised employees they'll be there.
They wanted that transition to be smooth.
And he promised his employees they'll have a job. And when he was finished with his 3 years, he also gave them a payout that had nothing to do with the new company. He wanted to make sure he takes care of these people. Forever, they talk about him. And the new owners love that they talk about him because they're dedicated to the new owners because of the transition period, because of how he took care of them while he owned the business and when he sold the business. So when you build for yourself, you got it locked in. You're not worried that this child is going to break it and that child is going to break it because you have set it up. So when you're setting up your business, make sure you understand it's something you truly love. Now, that doesn't mean you have to do it till you retire. So if you were a hairdresser, you don't have to always do hair. You got to do hair and do it so well that you can train well. A cleaning company, so you can train well.
Yes.
For my coaching company, so I can train my junior coaches so they understand what a company needs. My bookkeeping training, so they can understand how we do the books, how it's supposed to be. Even running your home, if you train your children, not only go wash the dishes, but today we're doing a washing. We're looking after the dishes, and some people think that this is so tedious. Kids should just know. No, my kid had to explain to me, Mom, I don't learn this way. And then once I listened, I realized I'm just running through, but he didn't understand how I was teaching. I
Yes.
slowed down. And yes, it's dishes. And yes, we have a dishwasher. And yes, yes, yes. But if you're teaching a child how to wash the dish, you want to show them how to rinse it off, scrape it off. You know, I had kids come here, they didn't have that kind of training.
Yes.
And they just dumped the food in the sink with all the stuff on their plate. And I said, no, no, no. There's the recycle bin. You scrape it in there and then you put it in our sink. This is how we do things. Not condemning how your mom does, but this is how we do things. And those kids thanked me. You know, they're like, thanks, Miss Caren. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm just, when you come here, this is how we do. We say good afternoon. We take off our shoes. We wash our hands, and then you can hang. That's how we do in this household.
Yes.
Whatever snacks is out, you can get it. If you want something, you can ask, and you can have it. That's how we roll here. And if you start doing this sort of stuff, you start noticing for yourself as well. Life, as I keep saying, life doesn't have to be hard. We make it hard with the things we do, the choices we make.
Wow.
The choices we make. And this goes right back to our money choices. You know,
Does it really?
It does. The person who whip in, and not in any scenario, but I watch people. I interact with people. I would ask them questions. They wouldn't know why I'm asking them a question.
Yes.
I remember asking this person because they were complaining about the job and how little the money was. So I said, what exactly do you do with your money? She says, what do you mean? It comes and it goes. I pay bills with it. Well, of course you do. But what do you like? Are you upset being in the job? Don't you like being there? Do you not want to be there? Like, what's the deal? Like, what's happening in the job that is causing you to feel this way? And, you know, she said, I don't like this. I don't like that. She gave me a lot of things that she don't like.
Oh,
and what's happening. And so she was allowing that feeling to stop her from doing what she's supposed to do. So I said to her, I said, if you were to create your budget, because we were talking about all of that, and you were to understand how much money you need, you would know that there's things you can cut back on, that you can save so you can actually leave the job. So if you need $10,000, then you save $10,000 and then you gradually leave. While you're saving to leave, you're looking for the right job you want, so you don't jump into another job to be miserable again. And you really check up on yourself to see if what's happening to you. Because is it really the people around you, or did you expect people around you to cater to you? What are you doing? And people don't like to hear that, you know?
No.
Not at all.
No, we don't. We don't want to hear that.
Somebody said to me, I went to work. Another person said to me, I went to work today. I didn't talk to anybody. And I said to them, so do you feel good about that? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, do you understand if the staff was about 25 people and you did not talk to anybody? This is not a 25-person problem. This is a you problem. You went in, you didn't say morning or good afternoon, what the case might be. And you had your face so terrible that nobody wanted to speak to you, because that's what really happened. But if you went in and you had said, good afternoon, and nobody answered, but a few people had said hi, your day would have been better. You'd have blessed somebody, and they would in turn have blessed you. The conversation ceased. The person was so upset with me.
You know what? My pastor says your attitude will determine your altitude.
Yes. He.
So she had a bad attitude, it sounds like.
Yes, I have worked in Canada for several jobs, and I will always tell people my jobs were great. I like the people that I work with, and they might have a few in the crowd that did not, but they didn't bother me because they wouldn't even notice. I greeted them the same way. We had good conversation. I remember I was pregnant with my last son, and I remember a guy said to me, when you first came to this job, I wasn't sure, but Karen, you're one of my favorite people. I'm like, what are you sure about? He goes, you look stuck up. I like how you carry yourself right. I'm like, you're judging me from outside. But the point was, I did not look, and he was a manager. I didn't look at his title. I didn't look at what people talked about him. I was, morning, Clive, how are you? What's going on? What's happening? How could we work? So, because he needed me and I needed him today, so that your job could be lighter. It's like, can you spare 5 minutes? Like, yes. He's like, can you get the guys to do this, and that? Because it's been just hectic. I'm like, I can get that done. No worries. And little by little, because he had so much piled up on his plate that it's not necessarily he was upset with me. He judged how he judged, but it's because so much things was coming his way. And now there's this person who's easing some off of his plate and helping him get his day through. And then I looked at him and I said, some of these things that's on your plate is unnecessary. You can hand it over to somebody. You're taking on too much. You're getting yourself too riled up. Take a day, write it out, come back and give it to the people who you know is capable of. And then stop trying to train them in a day. They need 3 weeks. Nobody's in your brain.
Yes.
Like, Caren, I hated hearing it, but thank you for telling me it.
You know something? I really cannot emphasize this enough. People need to value training. It will save you so much time and money in the long run.
Yes.
If you train your people, if you train yourself.
Yes. And we lead right into that. Look, Terry's saying it, train yourself. So when you start this stuff and you get into the role that you decide it's going to be, you got to train yourself. If you're a sewer, you're going to be sewing. And before you run your mouth and say, I don't want to be a sweatshop sewer. If you're going to be selling and making money, let's be realistic. You're going to have to make about 400 of a certain product, 1,200 of another product. Do you have to do it all day? No, but that's going to be if that's what you choose to do. So when I was making pajamas, I knew that I needed to bring my job labor costs down. And so I needed to put on that timer and be patient with myself, teach myself 30 minutes for a pants, fully finished, because I want to bring it down to 15 minutes, but I can't start there. So therefore, I'm not looking at cutting time. Cutting time had a different labor cost. Sitting at the machine had a different cost. And so I knew I need to cut stuff. I need to cut it a certain way. So I'm using less stitches. I only want to stitch around the inner tie and none of the sides. That took away 2 side stitch, ease on time. Waistband, no waistband, just fold over. Again, save again. Hem, double fold, straight across. Had it an inch wide. That was it. I brought that down to 15 minutes per pants. Now, I know how much pants I could sew in a day. But when I sew in the tops, I understand it's not going to take me 15 minutes. There's more parts to it. So the top is longer. But how did I get there? Little by little. Every day. So you now get to count it. And if you only want to sew for 4 hours a day, how much pants could I sew in 4 hours a day? You know, there is an 8-day sewing day. Okay, Caren, for the first 2 hours, I'm going to sew, take a 5 minutes break, another 2 hour, take a lunch break, another 2 hours, take a 15 minutes break. Those are things that's on your wall in front of your sewing station. And when the timer beep, get your butt up and go away. So you can come back and do it. Because if somebody else was paying you, you would do this. Also, you should have your chart up, with how much you're being paid an hour to sew the pants. And I went to business school, and they like to tell you that you don't have to do that. But I am telling you, if you're starting a business and you're small, that's where you want to start. Later on, it's different. But when you're starting, this is what you want. Why? You're going to know your labor costs. Because eventually you're going to hire somebody, right? Or you're going to have it go to a manufacturer. So you need to know these things, okay? So you're going to be hiring somebody for that. You might hire people for packing when you get big enough. So therefore, you want to know what that's going to cost you, shipping and handling, because it is a task. Administration cost. That is a cost when you call people up for product, answering emails, getting things, all the things.
All the things.
You understand your role and all the costs it costs you when you charge $65, $120 for whatever it is. I'm just making up a number here. You can justify it, not to people, but to your mind. The reason being, when you go to sell it, you're not arguing anymore. There's a little girl on YouTube I follow, and she sews a lot, do bulk sewing videos. I love watching them when I'm in the kitchen cooking. And she was at at a market once, and somebody was telling her, if I buy 3, would you give me 1 free? She says, there's no way I'm doing that. Here's the cost, and this is what it's sold for. When I do run a sale, you can check out my website, and then you can order then. You know why she was confidently saying that? Because she knew her costs, labor costs. She knew her material costs. She knew she was charging a fair price so that the business can survive. Let me repeat that. She was charging a price so the business could survive and then thrive.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
Without those things, your business is going to fail and fail. It's not going to be the economy. It's going to be your business that fail.
Wow.
Economy has something to do with business. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that. I study economics. I'm very aware of it. But we buy too much into it and get lazy. And I'm going to use that word. We don't like to hear it, but it's true. Mm-hmm. Especially when we get to a certain plateau. If your goal was to make $10,000 in your business, be very clear if that $10,000 is revenue or is it net.
Okay.
Because when you understand, you know your numbers. And when you know your numbers, you're not sitting there whining and complaining. You do the things you got to do. Number 2, what is the second goal? There's no one goal and I reach there and, oh God, I can't believe I made 10,000 and now you're rocking in your chair. There is the first, second, and third goal you need to achieve. And then you need to sit and reevaluate where you want to go next. Somewhere in the second or third, you need to know. Because first is just you want this number, you get this number, you're feeling good about a number. Number 2, the second time around is so you can see if you can do it again and surpass what you did. And now number 3, solidify that here, I can do this, because you need data. And that 3 times is giving you the data you want. That doesn't mean it's 3 years. It just means it's 3 times. You could have set it for a 6 months goal, a year goal, a year and a half goal, whatever that is. And then you get to really see what the business can do. And now you ask, what else could I do? How could I make my role even better? How could I get somebody to step in and do what it is I do? And I hear people in groups say all the time, I really want to replace myself, but I can't find anybody who can work like me. Well, of course not. I do not work like you. You cannot find me in you. You'll find similar. You'll find things that resonate, but I can't be you. But if you really want somebody, you're going to have them come in and train them. You're going to have to see their quirks. You're going to have to dislike and disagree with them. Those are your best people. The people who fight you on whatever you're doing because you're too blind because it's your baby. Those people are good for you. Maybe if they're too argumentative, no. But if they're reasonable and they have good ideas, yes.
Because they're doing the work.
Yes.
That's why so many businesses have suggestion boxes on the wall, because they're not doing the work. They're in the office. They're in I don't know, headquarters somewhere. Yeah. And they don't know what it takes to do the work that might streamline the process, save the company money.
So we need that. We need that. And as soon as I was telling a cleaning company lady, I said, as soon as the person who is your right hand is really, really where you want them to be, as soon as you feel they're getting there, I want you to get them an assistant. Why would I do that? You want to get them assistant because you get somebody who's really good, an assistant. You're showing them that you want to take some load off of them. You're showing them that you care for them. You're showing them that you want to see them in this light that you've given them the title for. So they need an assistant. I tell you, they'll be so happy with you. They now get somebody to train. They get somebody to do things well. They get to come back and have this camaraderie with you. They're part of your business. They want to help it grow. It can't stop with your right-hand person. And then once that happens, eventually you want to get a group of core people who is going to do a lot of great things in your company. That's going to spill off to all the other people, who's going to keep you up to date with what's not working, what's not going well. You're understanding where your role is. Everybody want to be a CEO. Well, are you a CEO? Do you understand your role? Are you a project manager and you're not really a CEO? Are you the president and was the president role? Like, understand your strengths and be that role, even while being the founder, because you made the business, so you're the founder. But you can't take that away from you. But understand your other role that came along with being the founder.
Wow. There you go. Whew. You know, it's just so hard to keep these roles clear. Like you said, we're talking about clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you
And
know when you?
it's harder when you don't collect the data, Terry, because the
Oh,
data
wow.
doesn't lie. The
Oh,
data doesn't lie. It shows you things you might want to hear. It's like when I was a teenager, I had a lot of pimples. My face was greater, if you will, with the pimples. And when I look in front of the mirror, there's nothing I could have done than see what it was. I didn't like it, but that's what my
mhm,
face looked like. And, once I learned about caring for my face,
mhm.
and understood from the doctor that I have to go through the puberty phase. There's nothing, any creams he gave me will seem like it would help, but it won't necessarily help. I got to keep my face clean, the eating, less oily foods, and the list of things that he'd given me. If I pay attention to those things, I'll notice a difference. Not a clear up right away, but I'll notice a difference. He wasn't lying. I had to keep doing, though, what he was asking me to do. That's the important part. Like I had to do it with all the things I knew. And I want to say this before I close off. I understand something, guys, more than you would ever know. When you start a business, you're piling on top of a pile already. Okay. If
Okay.
you're mature and if you're very young and all you do is live with your mom, you're just helping out your mom. And I want you to dedicate yourself helping out your mom because it's going to help you as a person. This is important. Not if she's abusive and doing wrong things. That's not a thing I'm talking about that you must. But if she and you are good together, you want to do that in any household. What happens next? You might have had a job. So you just pile on that. You got friends that you want to hang with. You got relatives. You got occasion. There's things you want to do. You enjoy in life. And then you decide to start a business. And we just pile on top of it. I'm
Yeah.
not unaware. Why I talk about data so much is because if you put that on a spreadsheet, you'll see where your time lies. You can see what you can do, what you cannot do. You look at your calendar, and you need to be able to say to people, I can't do this, but I could do that. I'm not available for this, but I'm available for that.
Mhm.
If you're going to start a business, if you're in a business already and you're finding that you're being turned, you have a meeting with the people, a Zoom call, a telephone call, a text. Okay, what you do, and you say to the people that you really love, I love you dearly, but I'm starting a new project, or I'm reigniting the project you guys knew I had and I felt terrible about, and I will need some space. Still love you, but we're gonna can't hang every Friday night, maybe one.
Mhm.
Oh, but Karen, you were the life of the party. I promise you, you can take a picture and hang it in the middle of the table. Remember, Karen is there, but she ain't there in flesh. Okay, make it into a joke, something. But when you're there with the people for that day, make sure you're presently there. Make sure you're having a good time. Don't worry about work; it'll come. When you play and play, when you work and work. If you try and work and play, you're in problems. When people say to me, I like to put on my TV and do my work, I'm like, you're not working. Because if you had a job, you couldn't do that. Stop the nonsense. You're distracted. The brain don't like
Mhm.
to pull in all the areas. If you want to know how you work, put on music and really attempt to see the work you do. Take off the music and then do the work. The music I like, if I put it on, I'm going to get up and dance. So I can't have it on. I
Oh,
know. I've tried. But I could listen to, the fireside going or soft jazz in a car.
mhm.
I could do that. And I get a lot of work done. So know who you are. All of this
Mhm.
I'm talking about is knowing who you are, finding out who you are. That's what I'm really good at, letting people find out who they are and how the multi-passionate work, because we have a lot more to deal with. We're pulled in so many directions and we
Mhm.
feel passionate about most of them.
It's so true, especially whatever we're working on at the moment.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But we have to know what's the main thing and make it the main thing, and what's the side things to make it the side thing. Terry, I'd like to share the screen with this quote I wrote
Okay.
because I think it pulls it together.
Okay.
Um,
Did you put it in the private chat?
uh,
That's your YouTube channel. Okay.
I'm a YouTube. It's just it's just a picture. It's just a flyer.
Okay.
How do I share? Okay, hold on. Let me see if I get to
Down there
share
where
this.
it says,
Image, yes. An
mhm.
image. Yes. Okay. Let's see.
There we go. All right.
All
I'm
right.
going to add it to the stage.
Yes.
Okay.
I wanted to add this today. Money. If you are just saying I pay bills, I want you to take this. Take a selfie, take a snapshot. Money.
Take a
I'm not
screenshot.
working to earn money to pay bills. I want you to stop saying I'm working for money to just pay your bills. Rather, I'm worthy to earn and allow money to come to me just for being me. I use some of that money to pay my bills.
I love that. Just for being me, because of people are attracted to what I do
Yes.
and they pay me for it
Yes.
because
Yes.
they value what I do.
Mhm. Because if you noticed, when you don't do that, every money you get, just pay the bill. Just do what you say it's going to do. There's hardly any left over. There's hardly anything else you can start. This is why you need a lot of free things. This is why you think everything should be given to you while you're selling on the side. That's not how it works. You understand? You have to know. This is why people say pay yourself first, because what left over is to pay the bill. But I want you to just turn the brain around and understand that you're worthy. You're worthy to earn and allow money to come to you. When you start opening up that, and that's really what you need to do, open that up. You notice. All right.
Wow. Okay.
That's what I want to love you will today.
That is beautiful. Guys, I want you to know that Coach Caren is available to you through her YouTube channel. So I'm going to put that over in the comments and on a banner. Yeah, I just, oh my gosh. Here's the banner. You can take a screenshot if you're watching on the replay. And I'm putting it over in the comments for those of you who are watching live. I want you to go there. I want you to reach out to Coach Caren. I want you to see all of the things she does, excuse me, as a multi-passionate entrepreneur. She's one of the few people who agrees with you that you can do multiple things and be successful at it. Because people say, well, I thought you was doing this last week. Like, you can do them. Okay? It's okay to be you. And we are
Yes.
all diamonds, and diamonds are what? Multifaceted, right?
Yes, they are.
So get on your diamond game. Come on in, connect with Coach Caren, and let her help you run a profitable business that's fun to run. Because
Yes.
she's all about how to bring those profits in daily. Guys, we love you. We had a little bleep earlier today. So if you look on today's show and it's about 5 seconds, it's because I had a little technical error going in. I had to stop the broadcast and start over. So we hope that you enjoy segment 3 of how to really enjoy being a multi-passionate entrepreneur with Coach Caren. Coach,
Yes.
are we going to continue this next week?
Yes, we're
Oh
closing it
my
off in part
gosh.
4. Yeah.
Guys, we're not finished. How to make money as a multi-passionate entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So come on back. We'll see you then. Remember, in the meantime, to subscribe to our YouTube channel over there and our Facebook channel for Biz Chicks. We'd love to share with our community what it is you do and how you serve. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye, Coach. We love you, girl. See you later, everyone.
All righty.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in today. We trust you've learned something to help you build a more profitable business and take the hassle out of your hustle. See you next time.